What's up, my YouTube people? Thanks for coming back to see just what I do today. Today, as you can see, is going to be another cooking video. Now, bear with me, I am using a brand new camera. It comes with a lever mic on it, so I'm going to try not to yell. With my other camcorder, I had to yell to make sure y'all could be able to hear me. But anyways, thanks for coming back to see just what I do today, as I said before. Now today, we are going to be making something with the dandelions. If you remember, back on trip number 23, I believe, we went and we plucked a bunch of wild dandelions. Now I bet you were wondering, what the heck is she going to do with all those? Well, today, I'm going to show you. So, as you can tell, we are going to need jars for this. I have little shorty jars. They're not very big, but they'll be just perfect for this project. Now, what are we going to make? We are going to make dandelion jelly. It's better than it sounds. This is, I think, the second time I've made it. The first time, my family really loved it. Now, I am going to be doubling the recipe. If you don't want the double recipe, you just cut everything in half. But you do need a major amount of dandelions. So, some of the other ingredients you're going to need in this is, of course, sugar. You're going to need some lemon juice and some canned gel fruit pectin to make jellies or jams. And of course, a really good pot. Make sure it's really clean because you don't need other flavors in there from like the burritos the night before funking up your jelly. And then of course you need a bunch of jars. Now my recipe makes about 6 pints, so that should be just enough jars. If not, I have some others handy. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to clean these dandelions. Now what do I mean by that? Is I'm going to get rid of all of the stems so it's just the flower. And then I'm going to wash them really good to get out some of the pollen, because the pollen will sit at the top when you're boiling, when we get to the point of boiling them, and you'll have to skim them off. But anyways, so I'm going to stop rambling, clean all these, and I will show you the next step when I come back. As you can see, I've got those as clean as possible. I did rinse them a couple times to get off any dirt and pollen and any funky things like that. Now, you will have some stem in there. It's inevitable, but you want to get out as much as possible because it will make your jelly bitter. So the next step is to put it on the burner and turn the burner to medium-high. And just cover the top of it with water. Cover to the top of it with water. Yes, of course they're going to float. Just want to give them a push down in there. As you can see, it's about to the top. Now we're going to let this go for about 20 to 30 minutes. Now again, you do want a bunch of dandelions to do this recipe. Even if you are cutting this recipe in half, you'll still need a bunch. So that neighbor you always thought was weird for having all the dandelions in it, go over and ask him if you could take all his dandelions for him. So, we're going to let this go for about 30 minutes, and I will show you the next step in making this dandelion jelly. Okay, now let's finish off this dandelion jelly recipe. 1 second. That's another project. But as you can tell, I strained all the juice out of the dandelions. Now those I will take out to the chickens. They'll devour those. Even with them being soggy, they'll still devour them. Now, I did double this recipe, if you remember. So if you aren't doubling this recipe, you want your dandelion juice amount to come out to about 3.5 cups. Now, if when you're straining and kind of pressing out the juice out of your dandelions, you don't get 3.5 cups, well, 4 cups or so, just add some water. It'll work just fine. And as you can tell, I did double strain it just to make sure to get all the petals and stuff out. So, there's just a couple more steps before we start jarring this. I do have some of my jars over here sterilizing right now. We're going to put this back on the burner and turn it to high. Bring you in for a closer look so you can see what the heck I'm doing. Now I'm going to be adding, I did double this recipe as I said before, so if you're not doubling this recipe, you're leaving it as 3.5 cups of dandelion juice. You'll need 6 cups of sugar, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, and 6 tablespoons of pectin. So now again, I doubled this recipe, so I'm going to need 12 cups of sugar, 4 tablespoons of lemon juice, and 12 tablespoons of pectin. That's why I had 2 boxes of that pectin. So I'm actually going to use my measuring spoons. How odd. I'm going to use my little monkey measuring spoons. They all pull apart. I'm going to pull out the tablespoon. Now you're going to add 4 tablespoons of your lemon juice if you're doubling this recipe. If you're not doubling this recipe, you'll only need 2. So there's 4. I did actually use lemon juice, not lime juice. And do not test it at this point. It is nasty at this point. You want to wait till the end when it's nice and tasty. Just thought I'd warn you. Okay, I'm going to add 12 cups of sugar now. Again, if you're not doubling the recipe, you'll only add 6. Now I know what you're thinking, holy crap, that's a lot. It'll all work out. Well, I ran short on sugar, so give me a second and I will be right back. Okay, I got the rest of the sugar now, so we can finish this out. Now you do want to be careful at this point when it starts bubbling like that so it doesn't go all over your stove. There we go, there's our 12 cups. Now again, if you're not doubling your recipe, you'll want to just use 6 cups. Now you just want to give this a stir, just enough to make sure that the sugar is all dissolved underneath. You don't need weird clumpy parts of sugar in your jelly. So we're going to give this like a minute or 2 to make sure all that sugar is dissolved, and when I come back we'll put in the pectin. Okay, that's been going for about a minute. As you can tell, I did turn it down. You really have to watch it at this point because it will boil over easily and you'll have a horrible sticky mess all over your stove. I just about did that a minute ago. So I'm going to turn this back up to about a medium. Just really watch it at this point. Now you can test it at this point. Now that there's sugar in it, you can test it. It should taste rather sweet. It'll taste really nice and sweet at this point. And you just want to make sure you give it a continuous stir because you don't want it to burn and you don't want it to bubble over. Now the odd yellow that's on the surface, that is leftover pollen that didn't get completely washed off. That is completely harmless. There's nothing wrong with eating that. So now let's add the pectin. Now I'm just going to add the whole pack of this pectin. Since I doubled this recipe, it would normally call for 6 if you don't double the recipe. But since I doubled the recipe, I'm just going to add the whole pack, which would equal about 12 tablespoons. Now we're going to pour this pectin in and let it boil for about 2 minutes, stirring continuously, and then we will start putting it in our jars. Now again, I did sterilize my jars. I didn't show that. I didn't think you needed to see that. If you want to learn how to sterilize jars for canning, you can look it on YouTube. You're watching me on YouTube, so you can look it up on YouTube too. So we're going to put in our pectin. Yes, it got a little clumpy. That's okay. It will all mellow out in just a minute. Now I'm going to turn this back up. When it comes up to a boil, then is when we will start our 2-minute timer. So I'll bring you back when this comes back to a boil. Now we are going to start our timer for 2 minutes. And we want to stir this continuously. Be very careful that it does not boil over. Now, I'm not going to sit here and make you watch it for the whole 2 minutes. You get the point? See, it's starting to come back up to a boil right now. Now again, you want to be careful not to let it boil over. Can't stress that enough. Don't let it boil over. Turn it down a little bit. Now at this point, when it's cooking, it kind of smells like honey. Now when you're first boiling the dandelions, it does not smell like honey. It kind of smells like butt in a jar. So we are going to continuously stir this for 2 minutes. I will speed this up, add some music, stop talking, and I'll show you when we are jarring after these 2 minutes. Okay, there's our 2 minutes. Now I'm going to slide this off the burner, get my jars ready, and we will jar up some of this dandelion jelly. Okay, the jelly juice is starting to look really good. Again, that yellow stuff you see on the top, that is just pollen. Now you could skim that off if you want to, but it's harmless, it's no big deal. It'll come to the top of your jellies and then you can just pull it off later if you wanted to. Now I have all my jars sterilized. I have a big pot of water so I can seal some of these jars. Now I am just using little, forget what size jars these are, but little shorty jars, little jam jelly jars. Hopefully I have enough. If not, oh well, I've got some other bigger jars I will put the leftovers in. Now the only thing left to do, to get that spatula out of the way, is to start filling jars. Now you want to try your darndest not to get it everywhere because it is a sticky mess at this point. Now I always try to come as close to the top as possible. Just leaving a little little airspace. Trying not to make a mess. So there's those ones, and then I'm just going to clean the rim up really good, put the lids on, put the little flat lids on, and then the rings on, get them going in the pot of boiling water, and when I'm done filling all these jars and have most of them sealed, I'll bring you back for a taste test. Hopefully it will be cool enough by then. Okay. Back in a bit. Okay, I got all those jars filled and processed. Now, I do have a couple of oddball jars. I have 2 of those. And then I have this big one over here. Now, that one will just go in the fridge. That's no big deal. But everything else will go downstairs. Now, hopefully they'll all seal. I did boil them for about 5 minutes, like it says to in instructions when you're doing jams and jellies. But I did happen to save you a little bit to try. Now it's not completely set yet because it's still a little warm, but it's still nice enough to try. So I'll put some on a cracker for you. Okay, here you go. It's super sticky. Oh! So what you think? To me it kind of reminds me of honey. But I think it's pretty good. I hope you'll give this recipe a try. Again, it's not completely set yet. It needs about an hour or so, and then it'll be set and it'll look just like jelly. But I think it's pretty good. It's pretty good on toast and crackers and anything else you would use jelly in. You know, any other jelly in. Or honey. I think it tastes like honey. So, I hope you'll give this recipe a try. If you have, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments down below. So yeah, I'm going to stick these downstairs on a shelf. They'll last for quite some time. The only time you need to refrigerate them is when you pop the lid and the seal is busted. Now, if your seal didn't seal all the way on your jars, just get new, the flat lids, and just redo it all. It'll work. So, I'm going to stop rambling, finish out this video. I have another one. It's a quick grape jelly recipe. If you'd like to see me make that, leave a comment down below, and I'll make that for you, make a video on that for you sometime. Not quite sure when, because I've got a bunch of videos lined up. So, I'm going to stop rambling now and finish out this video. So thanks for watching just what I do today. Please subscribe, whack that like button, leave a comment down below on what you think of this video and if you've ever tried it, and please subscribe. I don't remember if I said that, but please subscribe. So thanks for watching. Catch you next time on Just What I Do. Kind of looks like honey. Okay, catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.